question for you is, as you know much about the NFL, do you really think the Cowboys are legit from what you've been able to see so far this season?
I feel like they finally gelling a little bit, and you know, it took them a couple years, but you know, I think they're
17.
Yeah. How many?
Yeah, I think they're playing well, and you know, it's starting to look a little more consistent. That's what I think Dallas's problem was in the past, especially Romo. People, you know, questioning his consistency, and I think he's stepping up right now.
So where is your heart on this? Did you grow up a Giants fan? Would you call yourself a Giants fan?
I kind of grew up by default. My uncle was a very big Giants fan, so I kind of had to just, you know, when you're sitting under your uncle, you can't root for the other team, like, you know. So
at least not in front of him.
Right, definitely not in front of him. But I definitely was a 49ers fan then, but I kept that in my, you know, the Jerry Rice era. Like, I kept that in my.
Were you raised to hate the Cowboys? The way others around here were?
I don't.
Nah, I don't think I was raised to hate them, but they were in the same division and the same. They always was like a Giants nemesis kind of. So you know, you never really could like them. I respected them, and I respected the Aikman, Emmitt Smith era.
But I had no question about it. I had nothing but profound respect for the playmaker era. The playmaker era is what I call it. Michael Irvin with Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman. But it's not. The Cowboys don't make you hate them. Their fans make you hate the Cowboys.
Now, that might be a true one.
Because of how just nauseating they can be.
Don't hate the game, hate the fans?
How about that? That's right. That's right. Because the Dallas Cowboys didn't have much of a game, and the Dallas Cowboy fans would do nothing but make excuses and act like next year was always going to be a great
They're blind and illogical, you know what I mean?
Blind and illogical.
Whoa.
That's right. Blind and illogical.
Yeah.
The delusional Cowboy fans.
I'll admit it.
All right.
I am
so
that.
Long as
I've been that for about 17 years
Well, at least
now,
you're willing to admit it now.
Yeah. But I do have DeMarco Murray on my fantasy team.
And he's helping you out tremendously.
Okay, now wait a sec. You got to explain this to me.
Yeah.
And I'm the first to admit, I'm not a fantasy fan.
No.
You play,
I play.
Don't.
No.
I don't.
I know
okay,
it.
I don't get how you can give in to this and pick a running back on a team you don't love, which is going to force you, if in fact, okay, now Giants are going to play the Cowboys this coming Sunday at Jerry World.
Right.
So what do you do? How do you sit there in good conscience and say, go DeMarco, when you know he's going against your team?
It's a weird love, Steve. It's a weird love, but you gotta like, it's benefiting you.
Again, because you're a competitor at the end of the day.
Right.
You just want to win.
Are you a fan or a competitor?
A little bit of both.
I don't get it.
Nothing wrong.
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah, there's a lot wrong.
Everybody doesn't have to be you.
Huh?
No.
Yeah, you'll take it too deep and you won't be able to play like that.
I would.
Too seriously, yeah.
So, do you think I've gone too far with my Cowboy love? Or am I just being loyal?
I think you're being loyal, and I think you're in the same boat that Steven was talking about with the Cowboys fans. That you know they they have tunnel vision when it comes to Cowboys, and that's how I see it.
Okay, now I have criticized Tony Romo much on this show, and I did conclude 2 years ago that I don't believe Tony Romo is capable of winning a Super Bowl. But I must admit, so far this year, after that terrible first half against the 49ers in which he threw 3 picks, I'm seeing a new Tony Romo this year.
Sure am I. Somebody that hands the ball off to the running back.
No,
he looks quite new.
Okay.
He looks quite new.
How about 3rd and 20 at Seattle?
He's done that before. He's done stuff like that before.
Okay.
It's just that he make a mistake
afterwards.
afterwards.
How about 3rd and 8 in overtime to Des Bryant?
Tony Romo has performed well and has put out a lot of great plays over the years. It's just that he also would mess up.
And I want to see him in a big game too.
How about
because in the previous years, he has when they counted, I don't know if you could count on Romo. So.
Well, I agree. So, are you not counting on Romo this year?
Oh yeah, you know. So here's the problem. Dallas has got me pinned down. Here's the reason why.
You are pinned down. I like that.
Because they can give the ball to DeMarco Murray. So because they can give the ball to DeMarco Murray, and I don't get to just see Tony Romo step back and have to fling that ball to come to the rescue, we got a problem. Because as long as you got DeMarco Murray to hand the ball over to, guess what, Tony Romo, what's the chances of you making a mistake with that?
Right.
That's the issue. I want to see Tony Romo and the Dallas Cowboys put in a situation where in order to win a football game, one that matters, they have to resort back to what they used to be in terms of Tony Romo having to come and save the day with those receivers that he has. Now, I can't imagine that happening because the way they're running the football, okay, they're not really playing a huge deficit. Now, against St. Louis, they were at a huge deficit.
21-0.
And Tony Romo came, but it's against St. Louis. I mean, don't get me started with that.
We saw that.
The point that I'm trying to make to you is that that's the kind of situation. You don't have to be down 21-0, but I'm just saying I want to see the Dallas Cowboys put into a situation where running the football is not going to get it done. In order for you to win this game, you're going to have to throw it.
Okay.
And that's what I'm going to sit back and go like this. Now let's see the accident waiting to happen. Is that going to go?
Or if it happens.
Okay. Now again, I never predicted that this team was going to go 15-1. So they're going to lose some games.
You're not predicting that now.
I'm not.
They're not going 15-1.
But you are not giving Tony Romo enough credit for what happened at Seattle. He threw it 32 times against the Legion of Boom.
But again, the difference between you and I is I'm not counting the amount of times he threw it. The fact that DeMarco Murray runs the ball so much that he had 29 carries.
It's a great option. Yeah.
It's a great option. So it's almost like play action with Tom Brady. If Ridley and Vereen can't run the football and you have nobody to hand the ball to out of the backfield and you can't exercise and display play action, then it's going to take away something from the New England Patriots and Tom Brady. But having that option helps you. When we look at Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, one of the things we lament is the fact that he hasn't had much of a running game. Eddie Lacy was supposed to resolve that issue this year. He hasn't yet. So Aaron Rodgers stepping back and proving to be the bad man that he is. The reason I could say that about him is because it's usually on his shoulders.
Right.
Tony Romo was an accident waiting to happen along with the Cowboys because you knew all along that somehow, some way, just take your time, be patient, wait.
Okay.
Mistake is coming.
How confident are you in Tony Romo? Scale of 1 to 10. How confident are you in him moving forward?
I'm about 7.5.
Okay.
7.5 with him because you always have to look at things. Don't always say the same, but I always have to look at his past and what he's done in the past. And he does have the option, but like Steve is saying, if DeMarco goes down or gets taken out of the game for some reason, now it's going to be put back on him, and he's going to have to show and prove. So it's what he's done so far is a good showing that he's developed in that area, but from the past, I'm not too sure.
But in August, you would have been about a 4, right?
Yeah.
So you've come up.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's definitely raised his stake.
Okay, last quick point. 3rd and 20 the other day at Seattle. You tell me what happens if Romo and Terrence Williams don't pull that play off? What if it's incomplete?
May lose the game.
They're in big trouble. They're going to have to punt.
It's a big-time play by Tony Romo.
Okay. Well, you got to give it up, man.
Who scrambled out of the pocket in order to make
How about
the throw.
The spin move he made on
The spin move and
Bruce
everything. And by the way, didn't walk off the field holding his back. I'm very proud of Tony Romo. Very proud that he was able to do that. It's a play. It was a big-time play. He made it. He deserves credit. What, you want a cookie? I mean, he's a starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. He's passing 4,000 yards in the season. It's on a couple of occasions in his career. We know what he can do. We also know that he's an accident waiting to happen. The difference is they have DeMarco Murray running the football.
And you think he's an accident waiting to happen?
No, I do not.
Well,
I've
with
always
his durability.
Time out. Give me credit for this, since you always sit there and say that. Give me credit for this. DeMarco Murray has been sitting in that seat a couple of times, over the last couple of years. And each time when the Dallas Cowboys would stink up the joint, and even in the midst of me predicting that they will fall flat on their face when it counted most, I still said, to his face, right in front of you, the biggest problem is they won't give you the ball. I've said that to DeMarco Murray to his face on several occasions. They give you the ball, it will be an entirely different ball game. But they don't want to do it because they wanted to win Jerry's way with pizzazz and everything else. Somehow, some way, whether it's his son Steven or somebody else, somebody is real Jerry Jones in. He's not interfering as much as he once did. He's letting the football people make football decisions. Scott Linehan with his play calling, Rod Marinelli with his defense. They're letting them do their jobs. Give Jerry Jones credit for that. Finally, he stepped up.
You're sticking around with us, right?
I'm here.
All right. So good.